I think, first of all, Canada's a very big proponent of gender equality, and I think this is an area that we certainly want to do more to the extent that we can, not only in the education sector, but across the board, focusing on women's issues, women's rights. And in Canada as well, we place a big premium on gender equality beyond the classroom. Including in the business world as well, everything from women on corporate boards, a whole number of areas of interest and focus. So you can tie a lot of those priorities into everything that we're doing here on the ground, including in education as well. Colleges and Institutes Canada, I'm sure they would be more than happy to talk specifically about some of their initiatives, but the primary focus is on skills development, on working with partners here, whether it's Skills Development Council or other educational institutions here, in order to really focus on the opportunities to bring to students to study here, study in Canada, and in this particular case, develop the skills that are necessary to further modernize India and take it to where it wants to go. Along the way, as we focus on that as a primary goal, I think other elements, including gender equality, should be there along the way, but it wouldn't necessarily be the only area of focus. It would complement everything else that we're doing as part of our initiatives. I think it's very diverse. A couple of things I think I would note. One is, we are focusing beyond attracting students from India to study in Canada. We're also trying to encourage Canadian students to study in India. We're also focusing on the wide range of different educational training and learning programs, whether it's research, whether it's applied skill sets, applied research, whether it's co-op placements, working closely with sector or industry councils and employers. I think it's the full range of elements. And I think if you focus too much in one particular area, then you risk losing the opportunities and addressing the needs in some of the other areas. So I think it's a combination of all. And the other thing is, when you look at the various institutions that have signed these MOUs, for example, during Prime Minister Modi's visit with the National Skills Development Council, or any one of the 400 different partnership agreements that exist now between Canadian educational institutions and Indian partners, they're very, very broad-based. They allow a lot of flexibility, and different institutions from Canada have their own particular fortes or areas where they do better or they focus more on. So for example, there are universities that focus very much on co-op placements as part of the learning journey. And there are other organizations that make a very big point of working closely with the private sector to develop skills in the manufacturing sector, as an example. So all of those would be very beneficial here. And I don't think it's focusing on one particular area. I think all of those could influence where India can grow and develop further. Absolutely. In fact, Canada's a little bit more balanced across the board. So we currently have about 46,000 students studying from India in Canada. And we're doing well over 20,000 study permits a year. But if you look at those numbers, about roughly, this is an estimate, 1/3 of those are actually in skills-based programs in colleges. And then beyond that, if you talk to any Canadian university or college, there will be a huge premium placed on undergraduate studies. And at the end of the day, from Canada's perspective, it doesn't matter too much whether it's a graduate program or an undergraduate program. The reality is we're contributing to both Canada-India relations, because what happens is, it doesn't matter which program you've chosen, as long as it's a program of interest and it's going to allow you to get a job. And it doesn't matter if that job is in India or Canada or in a third country. The experience was a good experience. Down the road, that student will be sitting in a company, in a boardroom, or on the plant floor, or wherever it might be. Or that student's kids will be deciding where to study years from now, and Canada will feature prominently in any business decision, an educational decision. So the true impact for both Canada and India goes beyond skills development. It's far more than that. These are ambassadors of the relationship. So from our perspective, we would welcome undergraduate students. We would welcome those interested in developing their skills further. We would welcome graduate students to further pursue higher studies. It's the full spectrum. And if you really break it down, our universities or colleges are very open right across the board. Suits' style, we created this, myself and about 4 or 5 other individuals, created this about 2 years ago. It's a not-for-profit organization in Canada, soon hopefully to be a registered Canadian charity. The whole idea is we take donations of clothing, suits, ties, accessories in either new or gently used in very, very good condition, and then we donate it to individuals that are in need. And we work with local social organizations, NGOs, and other placement agencies. And we work closely with those that are going for their first job interview or that have just landed a job but need the attire but can't afford it. We work closely with students, with those that are looking for a new lease on life, if you will, and just are in need. And it's turned out to be very, very successful. I think this is a rough stat, but we had a meeting not too long ago in Canada, and about 85% of everyone who's referred to the organization and receives a donation of new suits or whatever it might be has actually landed a job. So it's good success, and it's great if there's interest in replicating that over here, because I think it's something that gives back to society and helps others benefit as well. I think anytime someone asks me for advice on studying or universities or further studies, and even myself, I would love to go back to school again. It's just something that I value greatly. There are 2 things that come to mind for me. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for education. There's no doubt. I wouldn't be standing here right now if I hadn't pursued further education. And then secondly, I encourage folks to think outside of your borders, because increasingly it's a globalized world and there's so much more to learn beyond your own borders. So yes, I did study I did my undergraduate studies in Canada, but I pursued my graduate studies abroad because I felt that there was so much to pick up outside of our own borders. And this is why when students from here go to Canada, it's an experience that goes beyond just the academics. It's much more than that. So for me, it was very, very important. And then studying in several different countries, you can also compare. You learn something not only in the universities that you're studying in, but you learn more about people in those countries, about business and how they're doing business, about social issues. You take away something, and those takeaways can help you form your opinions, your decisions, or inform your decisions better than if you had not done that. So I would highly encourage that. And for those that are here in India, there's no better place to study than in Canada. Well, I think as the visit of Prime Minister Modi demonstrated, the relationship, without a doubt, has been taken to new heights. Our Prime Ministers spent 3 days together, traveling right across Canada. The largest Indian diaspora population in the world is in Canada on a per capita basis. And they received Prime Minister Modi with a huge, warm welcome. About $2 billion in commercial deals were signed, including uranium, which, as Prime Minister Modi indicated, is a mark of trust in the relationship. And this is just the tip of the iceberg as we focus on helping India succeed with its initiatives, whether it's Make in India, smart cities, red tape reduction, clean India, whatever it is. Canada has a lot to offer. In fact, Prime Minister Modi even said that Canada has what India needs. So I think the relationship is extremely strong, and we look forward to even growing it in a much more substantial manner from here on out.